Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you. Oh, we're only a couple of days into the international break now and I'm already bored. Yeah, it's going to be a long couple of weeks, I think, and there's not much going on. So I thought today's video was going to be a little bit different. I'm going to look ahead in this video to the summer and to what we could see at Arsenal. And the big changes that could take place, basically the rebuild at Arsenal, the continuing rebuild at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. He said recently it's going to be an unprecedented summer, as January was unprecedented. And I'm always get lots of questions about it. You know, what are Arsenal going to do this summer? Who's going to sign? That sort of thing. Like, I can't give you the answers to all of that right now. I'm afraid. I wish I could, but I can't. But it is, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be done this summer at Arsenal. So I thought I'd explore that a little bit in this video. And please do, as always, send in your comments. Let me know what you think Arsenal need to do, what the most important areas in terms of the squad that Arsenal need to strengthen or sell, or, you know, just let me know what you think Arsenal need to be doing this summer in the comments below. And as always, I'll go through them and try and get back to as many of them as possible. I think I'm going to do a live Q&A on this at some point fairly soon as well, because I can imagine that lots of you want to talk about it and share your views on the subject as well. So I think it might be something I'll try and do before the international break is over, because it's, like I said, a really interesting topic and the one that I get the most comments and questions on here, on Twitter, on Facebook as well. So I'm going to have a little look at that, and then I'll talk about a couple little bit of news items that are doing the rounds as well. But let's start straight away. Let's get into the summer rebuild, shall we? I just want to read these quotes that Mikel said recently. He said there's been a lot going on in the last two transfer windows. The amount of things that had to be done was probably unprecedented, and it will be again this summer. We're trying to put a plan together to see the resources that we have, how much we want to improve, how we're going to do it, and at what cost. There are so many factors. It's not just about one thing or a financial amount. It's about the projects, and time-wise, how to build it is going to take some effort and everybody, and we know that. The challenging moments we are facing at the moment is making it even harder. When he talks about the challenging moments there, he's talking about on the pitch in terms of Arsenal don't know where they're going to be finishing yet this season, but also the coronavirus pandemic and the financial issues that we all know that Arsenal and every club is experiencing at the moment. We always saw what Arsenal released their losses for the year ending April 2020 a couple of weeks ago, and we saw how bad they were. It's going to be a hell of a lot worse when they release their next set of financial results, which will cover for the entire period of this pandemic so far, and behind closed doors football and that sort of thing. Arsenal on course to lose well over £100 million, you know, closer to £150 million. And so that is certainly going to have a major impact in terms of what they do this summer. But having said that, I still expect we're going to see lots of things done, and Mikel's certainly hinting at it there when he talks about unprecedented. He knows, he said it recently, I can't remember exactly when it was, but he said it recently when he was asked, you know, does this feel like, is this beginning to feel like your Arsenal team, or how close is it? And he said it's not at all. So he knows there's still an awful lot of work to be done, a lot of new faces to come in, a lot of players still to go out. I mean, Arsenal have got rid of so many players in recent transfer windows, as you all know, and there's still so many to go out. And I'll start there, shall we? When you're looking at what Arsenal need to do in terms of the players they already have, you've got David Luiz out of contract in the summer, Lacazette 1 year left on his contract in the summer, Eddie Nketiah 1 year left on his contract in the summer, Kolasinac coming back 1 year left on his contract in the summer, and then you've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe Willett, Reece Nelson, Matteo Guendouzi, Lucas Torreira, all those sort of players whose futures are very, very much up in the air. Now, Arsenal are going to have to work out exactly what they're going to do with all of these players. I think your priority is certainly got to be, for me at the moment, is the striking situation, because Arsenal don't have too many strikers, and when two are there, basically only three strikers they've got. If you don't count Martinelli at the moment as a central striker, you're basically looking at Orba, Laka and Eddie Nketiah, and two of those are coming down to the final year of their contract. So they're going to have to sort that out one way or the other. If it's a case of letting them go, then they've got to try and find the best possible buyers for them, get as much money in as they can, and then look to reinvest that money and bring in at least one more striker this summer. You've also got Folarin Balogun as well to sort out, which we don't know exactly yet how that's going to pan out, although all the signs suggest that he will be leaving the club on a free transfer in the summer, which is a real shame. But you never know. Mikel Arteta keeps telling us that he's positive, he feels positive about the situation, that Balogun might stay. if that is the case, then maybe we'll see Balogun certainly promoted to the first team squad next season and become much more regular in Arteta's plans, not just in the cup games, but in the league as well. So I think, that's going to be a really, really key position, is sorting out the striking department. I mean, Laka's playing very well. We saw him score again at the weekend. I thought he played it. I thought that was actually his best performance in a long, long time against West Ham. So they've got to really sort him out. Mikel's saying that contract talks with him haven't started yet, and they won't until the end of the season. Arsenal want to get the season done first before they start talking with these players, and then a decision is going to have to be made one way or the other. I've said it before in these videos that I think personally this is the time to move Lacazette on, because I just don't think you want to give him a new contract now, because if you do, you're suddenly going to be tied into another aging player with very little sell-on value who could potentially see out his days at Arsenal with his performances declining, because that's what happens with age. We've seen it with Mesut Ozil. I mean, we're kind of seeing it with Aubameyang at the moment. I still think that Aubameyang's just in a bit of a rut, and that he'll get and I don't put it down to an absolute decline because of his age or anything at the moment with Orba. I just think his headspace isn't the best at the moment. So Lacazette, I think that's got to be a real priority, sorting him out. And then there's plenty of other things that Arsenal have to look to do in terms of players leaving the club. I mean, the centre-back situation is going to be really interesting as well. You've got David Luiz, obviously, he's very, very key at the moment, plays a lot of games. He's out of contract. Will he sign a new one? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be absolutely against it, but I think for him, he's probably going to be getting offers of 2 years somewhere else. I'm not sure Arsenal would certainly offer him a 2-year contract at this stage. It'd just be a 1-year deal. So they've got to work out what's going to do with him. Is Saliba going to come back and be ready to really try and be that right-sided centre-back? They've got to take a firm decision on that one. And if not, I think, are you going to bring in a new centre-back to partner Gabriel, or is it, do you fancy Rob Holding to be that player? I'm not sure he does, even though he really likes Rob Holding. So there's so many things. And then all the players out on loan as well at the moment. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Joe Willock, or not Reece just isn't playing, but Joe Willock, Guendouzi, Torreira. There's millions of pounds worth of talent there that Arsenal got to take a decision on. If they're not going to play here, if they're not part of Arteta's plans, then you have to sell and get as good a deal as you possibly can, because all that money is going to be so important when it comes to bringing players in. Because as I've said, finances are really, really tough at the moment. Stan Kroenke isn't going to put his own money in because he never does. So they're going to have to bring cash in. You're looking at Joe Willock. Can you get £20 million for Joe Willock at the moment? Ainsley Maitland-Niles, can you get £20 million for Ainsley? Eddie Nketiah, what are you going to get for him for a year left on his deal? What can you get for Guendouzi and Torreira? So many options for Arsenal to try and bring money in, but they've got to do those deals well. In the past, they've done deals terribly when it comes to selling players. This is where Edu needs to earn his money. He needs to get the best possible deals for the club, bring in as much money as he possibly can, and then look to reinvest that money by strengthening the squad in the areas that Mikel Arteta really wants to strengthen. And there are plenty of those areas as well. You look at, in terms of players coming in now, you look at, I've already touched on the centre-back situation there. If Luiz goes, I think you definitely look to bring in a new right-sided centre-back, even if Saliba does come back, because I'm still not convinced that Arteta, how much he rates Saliba. I mean, that's a whole other debate. Obviously, we've all had it plenty of times this season. So, but you got the striker. I think Lacazette or Eddie go. You definitely got to bring in a new striker there. Arsenal are well aware of that. A striker is one of their top priorities this summer. Central midfielder, is Granit Xhaka the long-term partner for Thomas Partey, or do you look to upgrade in that position? I would say you look to upgrade in that position. Right back, what's going on with Hector Bellerin? Is it time to do, are you going to go with Hector again, keep him here and really go with him as your right back, or are you looking to upgrade in position? Again, I think you look to upgrade in that position. Central midfield, I've already touched on. Goalkeeper, what's going on with the goalkeeper? We've got Matt Ryan in as number 2 at the moment. He's only on loan until the end of the season. Do you turn that permanent, or do you look to bring in another out-and-out number 1 to put real competition on Bernd Leno? And perhaps you look to upgrade in that position as well. Leno certainly struggled a little bit this season. Struggling at the moment. He had found form again, but I think he's certainly struggled a little bit in recent weeks. So what do you do with a goalkeeper? So, right through the spine of the team, that despite all the work Arsenal have done and the players they've brought in the last few windows, they've still got... Basically, you've still got to improve that squad, that spine of the squad. Goalkeeper, centre-back, central midfielder, forward. And depending on what happens with Martin Odegaard in the summer, you might have to do an attacking midfielder as well. So, you know, that it just shows how much work. Mikel says it's unprecedented, and it is going to be unprecedented. We are in the midst of a huge overhaul at Arsenal that has been ongoing for a couple of windows now and is not anywhere near complete. It's not a Mikel Arteta side yet. He's admitted that. He knows he needs better players, players that really can fit into his way of thinking. At the moment, he's working with what he's got. I think he's getting results in a way, but we've seen with some of the real sloppy individual errors at the moment, perhaps some of the players who he is using and asking to play a certain way don't have the quality to be able to play the certain way that he wants week in, week out. And that's why, I mean, in terms of this summer rebuild, I just think there's so much to do. Now, as I said at the start of this, please let me know what you think in terms of what Arsenal need to do and where. What should their priority be this summer? Should it be selling players, bringing in as much money as possible? Should it be looking to renew contracts, or should it be focusing purely on getting players in? Let me know what you think. It's certainly going to be an interesting summer. We're only a couple of months away from it now. And given the way the season's gone this season, it's probably going to be slightly more interesting than the actual football, to be honest. Right, let's talk about a couple of news bits, shall we, before I wrap up today's video. First of all, starting with Mikel Arteta, the manager. He's been flooding his eyes a little bit at PSG. He's given an interview to Bein Sports, and he talks about Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, he was a player there. He started his career as a player there. And he was asked if he would like to one day go and coach there. Obviously, PSG coached by Mauricio Pochettino now, at the moment, a close friend of Mikel, who isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But he was still asked a question, and he said, look, I love Paris, I love it. I have very good memories from over there. It was my first club as a professional. The club is always in my heart, so you never know, but I have lots of work to do here at Arsenal. So, you know, clearly willing to float that one out there. It's generated a lot of headlines today, those comments, but the fact he does say, look, he knows he's got a lot of work to do at Arsenal. And to be honest, I don't think anyway the work he's done so far at Arsenal, as much as I'm a fan of Arteta, and I think Arsenal are very, very lucky to have him, and that he will be very, very good if those around him are as demanding as he is and back him the way he needs to be backed. I think Arsenal have got a very top coach there, but he still needs to do more. I don't think PSG will be considering him at the moment should something happen with Pochettino, which isn't going to happen, obviously, as well. Pochettino's very much only just arrived and is going to be there for a fair while yet, I imagine. But I do find it quite interesting that Mikel chose to do this interview and put those words out there, because he would have known the headlines they would generate, and they certainly have generated those headlines this morning. Again, let me know what you think about that. Right, now a couple of things before we go. I've got to talk about Martin Odegaard because he's the man at the moment. I did discuss him yesterday in my video talking about what could happen with him in the summer and Arsenal's chances of bringing him back. Callum Chambers has been talking about Odegaard at the moment, a player he called a wizard on social media. I don't know if you saw that after the West Ham game. I thought that was a very good description of Odegaard. He was asked about him and how well he's done, how well he's settled around the place, and what the Arsenal players think about their new teammate from Real Madrid. And Chambers said he has done brilliant. He is a great lad if you speak to him. I get on well with him. He feels at home here. He feels good. Doing well in training, works incredibly hard in training and in games. I think everyone is really pleased, and I hope he continues the form he's on. So Chambers saying Martin Odegaard feels at home at Arsenal. That will make a lot of Arsenal fans feel very, very positive and good about the situation if he feels at home here. It's something Odegaard has always talked about. He just wants some stability now after all these years of being at Madrid, not really making it, not getting an opportunity, then going out at Sociedad, settling down, playing well, thought he was going to be there for 2 years. Real Madrid bring him back early, then they don't play him, then he has to go and find somewhere else. He's found another home at Arsenal, he's doing well, he feels settled here. Is this a chance for Martin Odegaard to find some stability? As I said in yesterday's video, I still think it's going to be hard for Arsenal to sign him permanently in the summer, but I do wonder, especially if Zidane stays at Madrid, if Arsenal's best opportunity of bringing Odegaard back for next season will be another loan deal where he can continue to play football at a place where he's adjusted, where he's feeling good, and then a decision can make further down the line in terms of his long-term future. But one thing we can all be sure of is that Martin Odegaard is certainly making a big impact. He's making a big impact on us, on the fans, and as Callum Chambers said there, he's making a big impact behind the scenes with the players as well. Now quickly onto Thomas Partey. Bit of a change of plan in Ghana's thinking for Thomas Partey, which probably isn't going to go down too well at Arsenal. I think they were going to be they were very happy to hear the news that Ghana had not called up Thomas Partey for their 2 AFCON qualifiers. over the next week. They have now changed their mind and they have called him up, not for the first game, because he can't travel to that game because it's being played in South Africa, which is on one of the red zones. It's on one of the red lists for countries on the UK in terms of COVID travel restrictions. So he can't play in that match. But he can play in Sunday's game, which is against Sao Tome and Principe. I can't even pronounce that. I don't even know how it's said. And so he can play in that game, which is in Ghana. And so Ghana have called him up for that. Not just him, the Ayew brothers as well. Obviously play for Swansea and for Crystal Palace. Like Partey, they were originally left out of the squads, but they have now been called up for that second game if needed. Now, the key thing here is that if South Africa, if Ghana get a point against South Africa on Thursday, then they qualify for the tournament. If they beat South Africa, then they win the group. And that basically means the game on Sunday doesn't really matter. And it wouldn't be a surprise to some people that I've spoken to who are close to Thomas Partey. They think that if they qualify and they're not, and there's nothing on that final game, then Partey will probably be on the bench at best, or might not even be involved at all, just to give him rest after conversations with Arsenal. But if they lose against South Africa and then they need to get something from that final game, that is why they've changed their minds now and called up Partey and the Ayew brothers, just in case they need something for that final game, which I suppose you can understand. Yes, it's frustrating for Arsenal. I think we all would like Thomas Partey to stay for the next couple of weeks, really work on his fitness and avoid any issues with travelling. But you can understand from Ghana point of view that they want their best players available for that final game if needed, with qualification on the line. So I think all eyes is going to be on the result against South Africa on Thursday night when it comes to Arsenal and Thomas Partey. Right, that's about it from me today. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. Let me know anything that I've discussed in this video. Let me know what you think about it. Leave the comments down below. Like I said at the start, I kind of feel like I should do a live Q&A on the whole summer rebuild thing to really hear your ideas and let you join in on the debate about exactly what Arsenal needs. So I'll try and do that before the end of the international break. Right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I will speak to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.